Okay guys, you asked me to do the brand Tata Harper, and I'm not even surprised. I get it. This is kind of one of those skincare vlogger and blogger favorite brands. But I have to be honest, this brand has a lot to compete with after me just doing Korean beauty. That trial went extremely well, and you know what else it was? Very inexpensive. But I like to try, I like to believe in all brands as I go into them, so I'm doing that with Tata Harper. I did spend well over $200 to do this trial, but I'm hoping it goes well. I'm actually pretty excited. This is a very different brand from the other brands that I usually trial. It's definitely a little more pricey, and it's much more natural as well. So let me go ahead and show you guys what I did purchase in order to do this. First off, I have the Winter Wonders set. This is the dry skin recovery set, whatever that means. I figure great, excellent. It is winter. That is certainly a time for dry skin among everybody. And the set comes with 4 of her products: the Reparative Moisturizer, the Nourishing Oil Cleanser, Rejuvenating Serum, and the Hydrating Floral Essence, which apparently is a toner, which also apparently spilled in the box. Since I do struggle with acne, I decided to also grab the Clarifying Mask. I'm quite intrigued by this mask, and I really hope it goes well. Apparently it's bright green. I don't think I've tried a bright green face mask. No, I definitely haven't. I don't know yet what she puts in these because I like to try to stay blind, but I did notice in the process of buying these that this brand does have some pretty good reviews, or at least stars. And then you guys know me, so you know I've been collecting Sephora samples. I have the Resurfacing Mask, the Illuminating Moisturizer, as well as the Illuminating Eye Cream with Diamond Radiance. I bet this has diamonds in it. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't tell me yet. We'll find out. And then also the Purifying Cleanser and the Clarifying Moisturizer. I will report back to you guys in 2 weeks. See you then. Okay guys, it's been 2 weeks of me using Tata Harper's products. I'm going to say that overall I did enjoy the experience of using this brand. However, I'm going to hold off my overall thoughts, my experience, until after I talk about the products. I usually do it the opposite way, but you'll see why when we get to that section. Before I do go through these product by product, I added a couple more only because I felt like I needed to go buy yet another product. So I did take a Sephora trip and I bought another full-size product that I really felt like I needed. And I was able to get a very generous sample, so I've got even more products to be able to share with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into these products, and I guess before I do that, I will say one more thing, and that is I really do feel like the most popular Tata Harper products, the ones that have the highest reviews, the ones that are the most talked about, really do tend to be the shining stars, except for the additional little diamond in the rough that I found. So yeah, let's get into the cleansers. First off, I'm going to start with the, the Nourishing Oil Cleanser. If you do follow the 2-step cleanse system, this is one of those first steps in your cleanse. It's an oil-based cleanser. It is very effective at removing even heavy makeup. Now, this particular product is 66% organic and contains a blend of oils, mainly sunflower oil, as well as plant-based emulsifiers. Like everything else in Tata Harper's line, it does have a very herbal scent to it, but this one is a more pleasant herbal scent in my opinion. I did enjoy using it, I can't say I had any negatives to really comment on other than the price, and that is something that I noticed in many other reviews as well. This does retail for $72 for 4.1 ounces. Now the deal is you don't ever need to spend that amount of money on a cleanser, and more so this being a cleanser that you wash off immediately after you apply. I think that was the biggest complaint I heard with it is, man, that's a lot of money to immediately wash off. So for me personally, I'm going to finish off this sample that I have, but I'm not going to buy it. It's a little too expensive again for something you wash off. Next up is the Regenerating Cleanser. Now this is one of Tata Harper's more popular products, and I do understand why. I really did enjoy using this particular product. This one is 82% organic origin and contains aloe as well as sunflower seed oil, which gives it a bit of a hydrating feel, but it doesn't stop there. It also has exfoliating properties to it, which include white willow bark, which is something that has a natural source of salicylic acid, papaya enzymes, and then apricot seeds to actually give you a bit of physical exfoliation. It's not too harsh though. It's actually a really good exfoliating cleanser. I would definitely say this is a cleanser that all skin types can use due to it having those hydrating properties as well as those ingredients that are helpful for oily or acne prone skin. I really did enjoy using it, but it still does retail for $78 for 4.1 ounces, so it still is a pricey cleanser. There's a smaller size of this available if you don't want to commit to the full size. I don't have the price on that right now, but it makes it more expensive to buy the smaller size. I guess one of the pros of that is if you don't want a glass bottle, that does come in a plastic tube. And then we have another cleanser. This is the Purifying Cleanser. Now, this one is supposed to multitask by treating pores, oiliness, and fine lines all at once. I really feel like most of Tata Harper's products try very hard to multitask. Most of them you can use with any skin type. The idea behind this product is that it contains hydrating oils along with some very interesting plant ingredients, including broccoli and fennel, which supposedly flush out impurities in the skin. This also has white willow bark in it for that natural source of salicylic acid. And then on this product, the scent is a very strong lemongrass. Now, for me personally, I'm a little mixed on this cleanser. I did enjoy it. It definitely does feel hydrating, but my problem with this particular cleanser is that I kind of felt like I didn't get it all off. And then in addition to that, I definitely used more of this cleanser than I used of the Regenerating cleanser. It just didn't seem to really stick together. It's almost like it disappeared into my skin. So while this is a little less expensive, this does retail for $66 for 4.1 ounces. I still personally preferred the Regenerating cleanser. Next, we have the Hydrating Floral Essence. Now, I did completely finish this off in 5 days. I'm actually going to save that thought and talk about this first. So this is Tata Harper's luxury facial mist. I don't really know why it's called an essence because it's not really an essence. If anything, it's a toner slash mist. I can't deny this is a really nice product to use. It reminded me a lot of the Tatcha Dewy Mist in being a very fine mist, a great smell, very pleasurable to use. My problem with this really was just how quickly I went through it. I went through this little half-ounce size in 5 days, which means that the $68 1.7 ounce full size I would likely go through in 17 days. That's way too fast for me to go through a mist. So I very quickly started looking for alternatives because of how much I enjoyed this. So the formula on this is mostly aloe, rose water, and lavender water, which I think is why it does smell so lovely. It also contains hyaluronic acid to keep your skin hydrated, and then a couple of unique ingredients such as gotu kola. I didn't have any problems finding a dupe for this. You could even use the Mario Badescu Aloe Mist. It's pretty similar in ingredients. I think the lavender one, the new one that I haven't tried, might even be closer. But I put the first couple of ingredients into Google and I managed to find an organic product that retails for $11 for an ounce. I've not tried that. I'm just not surprised by it because really and truly the ingredients in this product are they're just not that expensive, Tata. Next, I want to talk about the masks. So I did end up trying every one of Tata Harper's 3 masks that she has out. What happened is when I did buy the full-size product from Sephora, a very nice associate gave me a generous amount of the Purifying Mask to try out, and I really appreciate that. So I'm going to start by talking about my favorite of these 3 masks. Again, much like other people's opinions, I too thought that the Resurfacing Mask was really good. Now, this is Tata Harper's BHA-based mask. It uses white willow bark as well as meadowsweet to provide the natural sources of salicylic acid. BHAs are less potent than AHAs, so you can actually use this daily for 2 to 3 days and then reduce the use to 1 to 2 times per week. Tata Harper actually has quite a few other recommendations for how to use this mask. One that I tried is to layer this over the Regenerating cleanser for 5 minutes. The idea behind this is that you're combining the enzymes that are in the cleanser along with this and kind of giving your skin a double exfoliation in a shorter period of time. This one only takes 5 minutes. It's kind of just a quick boost for the skin. I did like it, but I will say that doing that kind of felt a little harsh for those 5 minutes. And then another recommendation that Tata Harper gives with this product is to use it as a spot treatment, and I actually really enjoyed using it that way. I think we have this idea that you shouldn't have any acne, and I've finally given up that ghost. I'm probably always going to have a tiny little whitehead here and there, and I did get a couple of them during this trial. However, when I put this just a little tiny dot onto the whiteheads. They were so much smaller by the morning, so I gotta give it to this mask. I was very impressed with it. I think this product is a good multitasking product, and it does retail for $58 for an ounce, so it's a little pricey, but again, I'd say that if you're interested in this brand and you really want to splurge on something, this would be one of the products that I would recommend. Now, I did buy the clarifying mask in its full size, and of course, this is the acne fighting mask. Like I just said, I do struggle with acne here and there, and I'd like to do everything within my power to get rid of it. Now, this mask is this very bright green mask. I don't think I've yet come across a mask that has quite that appearance to it. Tata Harper really focused on using plant ingredient antiseptics and antibacterial products, as well as the gentler AHA, which is lactic acid, in this product. Tata Harper really focused on using plant-based antiseptics in this product, as well as the gentler AHA, which is lactic acid. The very first ingredient in this product is raw honey, which is rich in antioxidants, naturally antiseptic, and hydrating to the skin. Actually a pretty neat ingredient to use in a product like this. And then the next ingredients include kaolin, which is of course an absorbent clay. The green appearance in this mask comes from the third ingredient, which is sage. An interesting ingredient to include as well, since it is naturally antibacterial as well as antifungal. She also put into this the probiotic lactobacillus ferment, and then concludes this formula with a bunch of other essential oils that do also contain astringent and antibacterial properties, wintergreen and sandalwood, just to name a few. And as for my own experience with this, I will say I enjoyed using it. It's a mask that you apply for 15 to 20 minutes. Quick and pretty easy, but I do not like the smell of this. I'm sorry, I just don't. This was so unpleasantly herbal. I kind of got used to it, but there was never a point where I was loving the scent. Now, when you go to remove this product, you just add a bit of water and kind of wash it away. There's quartz sand in it, so you get a bit of exfoliation as you're getting the mask off. Overall, I'd say I really did like using it, but it does retail for $68 for an ounce, which makes it pretty expensive, and I think that there are a lot of other masks on the market that I will buy before I will buy this again. But all that said, I liked it. I guess I just don't really like the smell and the price tag. And then we have the Purifying Mask. I did get to use this 4 or 5 times in this trial, so I'm still going to talk about it even though I don't have the container to actually show you. This one retails for $65 for an ounce, and this one is the Acne Oily Skin Mask. Tata says that this is probiotic powered as well with lactobacillus and even yogurt powder, and this particular product is of 52% organic ingredients. Now, the first 2 ingredients in this mask are aloe and kaolin. I think it's nice to have aloe as a hydrating ingredient if you are going to use something as drying as kaolin clay is. She also put in some other interesting plant-based ingredients, including ginger to fight off free radicals, and clove, which also has antiseptic properties. So again, like I said before, this is another one of those masks that, in spite of having a specific aim to it, Tata Harper still tries to multitask here, so she has in it ingredients that are for elasticity and lifting. But all that said, I don't know if I really agree that you can accomplish all of that with this mask. It is very drying, and I don't think I would personally recommend it for dry or mature skin because of that. I'd recommend it for oily skin as its kind of primary use. Now, to be honest with you, the smell on this isn't bad, but it really does smell like other clay masks that I've tried. So all that said, I'm going to say that this is a little bit expensive for a clay mask as well, although it does have some interesting and unique ingredients in it. Let's talk about the Rejuvenating Serum next. This is a creamy serum and actually feels a lot more like a moisturizer once applied. That's something that I noticed as well as other reviewers commented on. I'm going to say I actually did find this quite hydrating, more so than the moisturizers, but we'll get to that in a moment. As far as ingredients, this is mostly aloe, water, mango seed butter, rose water, and olive oil, along with some unique ingredients, as is the way that Tata Harper formulates her products, including buckbean and lavender to firm the skin, rose hip seed oil, and hyaluronic acid, which will altogether make this a very hydrating serum, which it definitely is. Now, all that said, this does retail for $98 for an ounce, and considering that most of those interesting ingredients are a little lower on the ingredients list. I do think it is a bit expensive, but I enjoyed it. If you have extra money, it's something that is certainly a nice product. The smell on this one is not offensive. I did enjoy using it. It's just expensive. Next up, I'm going to talk about the moisturizers. Now, I did try out all 3 of her moisturizers except for the $185 moisturizer. Had to draw that line somewhere. So I do have a comparison of these 3 moisturizers. However, that said, I really don't recommend any of these moisturizers. I think that this is easily a component of this line that you could pass on. But we'll still go through them individually, so I will start with the Reparative Moisturizer. This is the moisturizer that Tata Harper says is for dry skin, and its ingredients list does read quite similarly to the Rejuvenating serum. Actually, this one has a little bit higher of those hydrating ingredients before it gets to water on the list, which just kind of has me a little bit baffled as to where the prices on these products come from. But in saying that, there's something about the actual use of this product that I found very strangely drying on the skin. It just wasn't enough for me, and I have kind of dry skin. I say this a lot. It's actually, I'd say my skin is normal to dry with the type of intense skincare routine that I have, and this still wasn't enough for me. So what ended up happening is, as I used these 3 moisturizers, I realized my skin was going to dry out if I didn't address this issue, and that's how I ended up going to Sephora to get another product for hydration. I don't know, it's all really strange. Looking at the ingredients, it should be hydrating, but for some reason it's not. I want to say this is less expensive than the serum, and it's a good option, but the fact that my own experience, again, as well as other reviewers, was that it wasn't moisturizing. There's no way I could recommend this for people with dry skin. Maybe for normal skin, but if you have really dry skin and you're looking for a really hydrating product, you do not need to spend the $105 on the 1.7 ounces of this product. You just don't need to. Then we have the Clarifying Moisturizer. This one also retails for that same price, $105 for 1.7 ounces, which certainly makes it expensive. Now, this one is the Oily Skin Moisturizer, but strangely enough, I liked this more. What's so unique about this particular product is this is actually a very mattifying moisturizer, and those are not particularly easy to find. Now, this is formulated with aloe, water, and sage, which again is an antibacterial and antifungal ingredient. It also contains a blend of minerals to work as natural astringents, as well as hyaluronic acid to keep the skin plump. So again, she has a little bit of the multitasking going on in this product. Again, this is my favorite of the moisturizers, but it still is quite expensive. Oh, and one other con that I didn't want to forget about this, it seems that anything in the clarifying line was that scent that I really didn't enjoy. I dealt with it, but I didn't love it. That's the main reason why I think that if you're going to buy anything from this line, I would highly recommend smelling it before you buy it. It might be too much. You might have no problem with it. Let's talk about the Illuminating Moisturizer with Diamond Radiance next. Now, this one is supposed to be for all skin types, but the selling point on this particular product is indeed that diamond powder extract, which is supposed to give the skin a glow. I almost forgot to tell you guys that I am, in fact, wearing these. This is on my cheekbones today. I really did find it gives quite a glow to the skin, almost too much in my personal opinion, and I did not like it all over my entire face. What I find really interesting here is that this product has a similar formula as the other moisturizers. This really seems to be a trend with this brand. A lot of the product ingredients were actually quite similar. And yet this one is $85 for that 1.7 ounces. I can't figure it out. This one is mostly aloe, shea butter, as well as hyaluronic acid, and then some safflower oleosomes to act as a natural occlusive on the skin, and then Spanish lavender, which we'll talk about a little later. I'm going to use this up, but I'm not going to repurchase it, and to be honest with you, I kind of feel that the tint to this is something that probably, I don't know if this sounds strange, but this might only work on certain skin tones. It was almost too much for me because of its kind of pink tint. I do have a warmer color to my skin. It was a little hard for me to pull off. That's why it's on my cheekbones and not my entire face. It's kind of an intense product, but all that said, I feel like there's probably a skin type as well as a very specific, fair, cool-toned skin color that might actually really enjoy this product. I'm going to talk about the Illuminating Eye Cream next. This is such a strange product for me to talk about because I actually really love how this looks on my skin. I'm wearing this today. It's really pretty. It's really brightening on the under eye area. But man, I really feel that in saying that, I've got to also tell you that I think that's because I have a lighter to fair complexion. I really hesitate to say that this is universal just because it does have so much pink, light pink color to it. And I almost think that what I enjoy about this product is its color correction. It's almost like the world's most expensive concealer. This retails for $95 for a half ounce, which I can never recommend it based on that alone. It's way too expensive. I loved its color correcting, but that's not what an eye cream is for. You can buy a concealer or a color corrector to accomplish that. And yet I feel like there could be people who call this a holy grail just because of how pretty it is on the skin, and they're probably in 15. I feel like that's one of the weirdest kind of positive reviews I've ever given because I am kind of reviewing this for its appearance. So based on appearance, I liked it. Based on effectiveness, I really didn't. I actually found it almost drying, just like all of these other moisturizers, which is why ultimately I don't recommend any of these moisturizers aside from maybe the clarifying moisturizer. Just moisturizer should do more on the skin. Eye cream should be very, very hydrating, and I just didn't really find any of these products, these last four that I talked about, to be all that hydrating. Like I said, I needed a special Sephora trip to deal with how dry my skin had become, and that's when I bought the Beautifying Face Oil. I think I've said this in many other videos. If you ever find that your moisturizers are not hydrating enough, add an oil, and it will solve all of the problems. And so I did end up buying one of Tata Harper's. This is the Beautifying Face Oil. I actually really love this product. And strangely, this is one of her most underrated products in my opinion. When I went on the Sephora website, I only saw 7 reviews, but this does have really high reviews, and not just from Sephora, even from Beautypedia, which can be kind of difficult to get a high review from. This product is squalane, jojoba esters, camellia seed oil, and algae extract for some extra brightening. This smells so strongly of jasmine, but in a really good way. And honestly, the fact that this is $68 for an ounce is actually kind of amazing. Now, there is a con to this product, and that's that the pump, other people have said this too, there's something wrong with the pump. And you'd think that Tata Harper would kind of get that down a little better, but it just kind of spurts out. Here's my recommendation of how to use it. It does spurt, so I put it on the back of my hand, and then I apply it from there. This is so immediately hydrating. It just feels so cooling and wonderful on the skin. By far my favorite product from this line. Now, it's not that this is a particularly unique product, to be that honest with you. It's actually quite similar to the Cover FX Jasmine Drops that I recently reviewed. Very similar in ingredients, but I think this is a bit better. I think the only thing I really felt perturbed with this particular product, aside from the pump issue, is that when I went on the Beautypedia website and I read their review of this product, Beautypedia will always have the prices, but they typically have outdated prices. I knew I had just spent $68 on this 1 ounce, and I thought I got a great deal, but then I saw that it was listed as $48, and I was like, ugh, $20 increase, come on! That's more than inflation, isn't it? But you know, I think we're seeing, as a brand gets bigger, they do raise their prices, and I understand it to some extent, the cost of advertising and blah blah blah, but man, $20. I still love it, I still recommend it, I still think it's one of the best products from this brand. Okay, so that is the 13 products that I tried out, and now I want to talk to you guys about my experience with this brand. I'm saving this because I feel like if I start this video with this, people who are interested in this brand might click away, and this part is actually important as well. So hopefully after you hear all of my reviews, you're willing to hear my skepticism as well. But I gotta start on a positive note. I did use this brand for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I'm still happy with my skin. It's not perfect, but it's still good. I think we have this tendency to set these really, really high expectations for what our skin should be like, even with a ton of good, thorough skincare used consistently. Some people just have really amazing skin and some people have to work for it. Now, one thing I really wanted to do with this brand is to just stick with all of these all-natural products on their own. Leave out my retinol, leave out every other product, and just see, can natural skincare be as effective as conventional skincare? I'm going to say sort of. I'm going to say sort of because eventually in the second week, my breakout did get kind of bad, and I ended up going back to, of all things, the snail essence. It's amazing how quickly that cleared up my skin, by the way. That's quite the product. And to kind of take you through the experience of having purchased all of these products pretty blindly, as I like to do these, and then digging right in, I've got to tell you, the very first product that I opened, when I got that whiff of essential oils to my face, the first thing I said is, Beautypedia is gonna hate this brand. And I was quite right. Most of these products are rated around 1 star, except for that beautifying face oil on the Beautypedia website. Beautypedia absolutely thinks there's too much essential oils, and one thing I did want to comment on is that Beautypedia critiques this brand specifically for having heavily fragranced products, and I actually disagree, especially with some of these that smell bad. To me, I think it's pretty apparent that this brand isn't using these essential oils for some kind of fragrant experience, but rather for the supposed benefits of essential oils. And any of you who are familiar with alternative medicine, holistic health, will know that essential oils have a lot more use than just scents. But I think that one of the problems with essential oils is that they do have a lot of cons for some people. I would definitely not recommend pretty much anything from this brand if you have very sensitive skin. And that really is something that I want to comment on as somebody who, I didn't just read Beautypedia, I read Sephora reviews and I read Makeup Alley also, and I think it's really interesting to compare the spectrum of opinions on this brand. Beautypedia pretty much hates the brand. On Sephora, this brand is rated pretty highly, but we've talked about this before. That kind of happens a lot with certain brands that maybe it shouldn't. There's a lot of speculation about deleted reviews, and I kind of gotta wonder if this is one of those brands that has those, only because when I jumped over to Makeup Alley, some of these products do not have high ratings. This Reparative Moisturizer only has a 2.8 on Makeup Alley, but a 4 on Sephora. I guess where it gets tricky for me is that I do actually appreciate what this brand is going for. I watched a lot of Tata Harper interviews, I read a lot of her interviews. I think that as a person, I kind of like where her heart is. She's very into this non-toxic idea that she's promoting, and it is pretty unique. There's a lot of chemicals that are added to skincare that we haven't really studied. It's amazing how unregulated the cosmetic industry is, and she talks about this. It's a very valid point, but to kind of take that middle ground, I gotta also say that non-toxic's a little bit of a problematic statement. To give you an example of that, she talks about the use of Spanish lavender in one of these interviews that I watched. It's kind of an interesting conclusion that she's drawing. She's saying that Spanish lavender is nature's Botox. I get where she's coming from with that, and there's some very limited data to say that Spanish lavender may relax the muscles of the face. But it's not Botox. And I think where this gets really, really muddy to me is that Botox is of natural origin. Botulism toxin is a protein that is made by Clostridium botulinum. Kind of natural, it is, but we inject it into the skin so that it's really getting to the muscles. I mean, it's Todd, it's a little bit different than putting Spanish lavender onto the skin. I get it, I get where you're coming from with it. I get it. But it's apples and oranges, both of which are natural, coincidentally. Natural and non-toxic, I don't know, they're kind of problematic words to me. Again, I do have a science background, so it shouldn't be tremendously surprising that I do think that, but, a lot of things in nature can kill us. We've talked about this before. Natural does not necessarily mean non-toxic, and in fact, if you think that it does, that can kind of be how you end up harming your skin by using direct essential oils onto the skin. I've heard of so many people doing things like that. They burn their faces with tea tree oil. You gotta still be careful. You gotta still respect nature and all of the potent ingredients that even I admit are in nature. I kind of tried to pepper this video with another little detail to add here. This is not a critique of Tata Harper at all. This is other reviewers who keep calling this brand organic. Tata Harper doesn't call themselves organic. They give you breakdowns of how much within their products are organic, but they're not 100% organic, and that's not a bad thing. It's just some misinformation that I've seen from more than a few beauty gurus. So to give you guys a final conclusion, what I'll say is I am quite surprised at how much I threw myself into this brand. When I really think about it, I spent $261 on this 2-week trial, which I'm pretty sure is the most I have ever spent doing one of these videos. But I got really into it. I made a second trip and bought more. I was really enjoying this brand. But am I really surprised by this? No, I'm not. I'm kind of the perfect demographic for Tata Harper. I mean, I am originally from Sarasota, Florida, of all places. Siesta Key. I cannot walk by a Whole Foods without going in and getting some crunchy kale crisp. I can't do it. I can't. I feel that's exactly the demographic for this brand. It's for organic and all natural enthusiasts. And I think that if you are that type of person, especially if you coincidentally are making a lot of money, I think that you will like this brand. I can come on camera and tell you guys that I'm happy with my skin. I'm happy with what this brand did for my skin. But removing my bougie bias from everything, do I think that this brand is a must-have? No, I really don't. And I think that if you are trying to incorporate more all-natural into your life, if you're thinking about spending $105 on an all-natural moisturizer, I'd say don't do it. Take your $105 and go buy 105 avocados. It will do so much more for your body inside and out. But you know, if you're rich enough to already be subscribed to the avocado subscription service, then by all means try this brand and let me know what you think of the $185 moisturizer that I didn't try. I hope you guys did find this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, YouTube.